I'm going to take you live now to Melbourne, where the Victorian Opposition Leader Michael O'Brien is speaking.
The decision to say no to the ADF or to say yes to private security guards. Jenny Mikakos has been thrown under a bus by Daniel Andrews, who refuses to take accountability for the second wave. Jenny Mikakos is being used as a scapegoat by Daniel Andrews. Say it again. Jenny Mikakos is being used as a scapegoat by Daniel Andrews. It's not her fault the ADF try that again, I beg your pardon. It is not Jenny Mikakos' fault that the ADF were ignored. It's not Jenny Mikakos' fault that private security guards were engaged. That was a decision that was taken by the government. We know that Daniel Andrews knew ADF support was available because on the very first day of hotel quarantine, his press release said so. He said so at his press conference. We know that Daniel Andrews knew that private security guards were going to be used because on the 28th of March he said so at his press conference, and he can't explain why. Andrews is simply using Jenny Mikakos as a scapegoat for his own failings. And to hear Daniel Andrews say today that he was planning to dig in and grip onto his job because he wanted to face up to the challenge of the rebuild, all Daniel Andrews is doing is running away from accountability. The longer Daniel Andrews decides to try and dig in to his job and hold on to power, the less accountable he is for the damage he's done to Victoria. Over 750 deaths, tens of thousands of businesses shut, hundreds of thousands of jobs lost, and millions of Victorians locked down. This is the consequence of the second wave, of Labor's second wave, of Daniel Andrews' second wave. It's about time this Premier took responsibility for what he's done to this state. It's about time Daniel Andrews followed Jenny Mikakos out the door and gave Victoria a fresh start under leadership that we can trust. Ask Georgie to speak and then happy to take questions.
You can hang on.
Can I?
You can hang on.
Good, thank you.
Do you want me to hold it for?
No, it's all right, I'll do it. Thank you. Out there? Okay. Well, I heard the Premier say today's a good day. No, it's not. Another Victorian sadly died to COVID-19, and we've had hundreds and hundreds of Victorians who've lost their life because of the mismanagement, incompetence and the second wave that has gripped Victoria. People have lost their livelihoods, their dreams have been smashed, their livelihoods have been absolutely trashed because of the incompetence of the government. And what we've seen is Daniel Andrews coming out today, covering up for his failings. He threw Jenny Mikakos under a bus yesterday. On Thursday, he had confidence in the minister. But 10 days before that, he had written his submission saying that she was responsible and accountable for the hotel quarantine program. This is a dysfunctional government, and it's a government that is at war with itself. So all of these issues are not good for Victoria. Victorians are the big losers out of this dysfunctional government and what we've seen with Daniel Andrews and his really hopeless ministry. Well, obviously the Premier thinks so, and I wish Minister Foley well in this really important role. But it's got to have somebody who understands health. This is very critical, and the Health Union itself didn't have confidence in Jenny Mikakos. They said she didn't know the difference between clinical and non-clinical staff. So I'm just hoping Martin Foley understands the very real differences and the really big issues that are facing Victoria, because we've got real issues here. We've got an elective surgery wait list that is at record levels. It was at record levels before the COVID-19 crisis really hit. And these are Victorians, tens of thousands of Victorians who are waiting in pain, and he'll have to deal with these very serious issues. Well, there is so many issues in that Department of Health. The Secretary not passing on briefs. We saw during the inquiry the tit-for-tat that was going. We had bureaucrats saying it was the minister's responsibility, ministers saying it was the bureaucrats. It's been all over the place. There are bureaucrats that have got real questions to answer to. They have been making these decisions and assisting the government with making their decisions, and Kim Peake has a lot to answer for.
That was the Victorian Opposition responding, of course, to the comments made by the Premier today of Victoria and also the resignation of the Health Minister Jenny Mikakos. The Opposition saying that Jenny Mikakos is being used as a scapegoat, and they're once again calling for the Premier himself to resign.